Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Tactical Baby Gear Podcast. This episode, Alex and I discuss some of the holiday traditions around Christmas for you adults. Put some earmuffs on the kids for the beginning half of this video. And then we'd kind of do a year-end review of what's happened in the company and the community and like some of the cool things and highlights. So there's some fun stuff in there. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Who does number 2 work for?
It's probably best if I'm not involved anymore anyways.
Yeah, right, dude.
I come over here and I mess up everything.
No way. How's it going? Good morning.
Let's use. Oh, we're actually going to start.
Yeah, we're going, man.
Start. I'm not going to air that out on the podcast then. We will defer to when the cameras and the mics are not recording. We are, like every podcast, tired.
Dude.
It's
just been some sleepless nights.
It's just parenting.
It's parenting.
It's the holidays.
I've been I have no problems right now with my kids and sleeping in any of those situations. I just keep waking up at 3:30 in the morning. Can't go back to sleep for like 3 nights in a row now.
I just keep waking up at 3:30 in the morning because of the night terrors.
Yourself? What are you scared of?
Everything. Okay? I'm scared of having little people come in my room and stare at me. Thankfully, they haven't broken down. Like they still respect the boundary of the door being closed of my room. Apparently,
not me.
Thankfully, we'll start to hear them, and it's the like visible kind of like shaking kind of night terrors where you pick them up, you tell them they're safe, you give them a hug, and then they just want to get back in their bed, but midnight, 2:00, 3:30.
My kids used to like sleepwalk.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's going to happen for our kids because Emily sleepwalks. I've woken up to her like with her like hands around my neck.
Nuh-uh.
Like, oh yeah. Like,
for real?
Yeah. I always kid around. I was like, I think that was like earlier that morning I told you about some life insurance I bought. But not the case. But yeah, no, it's like she was like just kind of like her hands were around my neck. Like not like squeezing or anything, just there. And she said like, the next day, she was like, I had a dream that someone else was in my bed, so I was trying to attack intruder.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Except it was me. I've woken her up from a sleepwalk once because she was doing like the fast feet football move.
Yeah. Like
at the edge of the bed, and the bed we had at the time was like, it probably would have been a nice like 2.5 foot, 3 foot drop, like right on her face. I was like, what are you doing? And I woke her up, freaked her out. And she's like, don't you ever wake up anyone that's sleepwalking? I was like, I didn't want to take you to the hospital. So I took my chances. But so anyways, I'm wondering if my kids are going to pick up on that trait or not.
I mean, I say they were sleepwalking. I don't know for sure, but like there'd be nights where I'm like, wake up at 2 a.m. because I hear my bedroom door creaking and it's like, and you're like, what was that? And you like open an eye and there's just like this creepy shadow silhouette of a girl standing there staring into your room, like The Ring or one of those creepy movies. And they're just standing there and you're like, oh my God. And you're like, now you're wide awake because you think there's like some creature in your house. It's just your that's 3-year-old.
A struggle with me is like when I hear the noise, I jump up and like I just go into like attack mode in a way.
Like grab
and then it's like, oh crap. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
That was just a kid. He needs some water or something. It's 3 a.m. Like last night he put on like almost like a big old like zip up sort of
Like
I want to call it like a onesie jammy, but not.
Yeah, I understand.
And it was like 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Like wakes up and he's kind of like shaking a little bit, and I think he's asleep, and he's just like, I don't want these pajamas anymore. And starts like taking them off. I'm like, okay, like normally I would sort of fight it and be like, well, you went to bed and though, like keep them up, but it's 2 a.m. Like you're not trying to like wake them up more. Like this isn't the battle that we are going to fight. So now it's like, because the twins sleep in the same room. So it's like, all right, door's open. It's kind of light. I don't want to wake up the one kid who we just put back to sleep at like midnight. Let's go pick up pajamas. So I'm like just digging through in the dark, grabbing something. So I'm like, usually my other kid, Max, he'd be the one where it's like, I don't care. Actually, I had this a few days ago. It's like, it needs to be the fire truck pajamas. I'm like, they're all dirty, dude. It's 3 a.m. Like, you got to put some clothes on. Yeah, like you just peed the bed. These are the pajamas, and it's like lights on. No, I want the, wakes up the other one. So thankfully with Nico last night, it was like,
them out.
Put him in a sleeper hold. So last night it was just like, if you're taking this off, you're gonna put these on. He's like, that's fine. I was like, thank you. Like, one battle I don't have to fight. Put him back in the bed. But yes, and then woke up to exercise this morning, and so I've had 2 very strong cups of coffee, and I'm daydreaming about my third.
That just triggered a thought in my head. So you guys listening, I've got a little bit of an agenda with this podcast, which typically I don't have. Things just we just go with the flow, right? But I kind of want to I've got a few questions for Alex because I have some crazy things that have happened around the Christmas holidays and some of those traditions and things that are just ridiculous. So you might want to spare your kids from listening to that part of it because I don't want to spoil Santa for anybody. But then I want to do a year in review and just kind of recap some of the like cool things or ridiculous things that have happened over the year. And I think that'll be fun to kind of look back on. But that just triggered a thought in my head of what you said about choking them out. Or what I said about choking them out.
Don't put words in my mouth with this fake news.
But yeah, so Christmas, dude, the craziest thing in the world has happened recently. So my oldest daughter, if you don't know already, everyone listening, of my oldest daughter who's 8.5-ish, she writes a Christmas like almost daily now. It's not like there's not like a Christmas list anymore. It's like the Christmas note of the day to Santa, but she writes it out.
It's like memos to Santa.
And then she goes and puts it in the mailbox, like outside. So Brandy comes in the other day. She's like, so I went to go check the mail, and there was a note to Santa in the mailbox from Cameron. She asked Santa for a bra for Christmas. I'm like, oh my God. Oh no. No, I'm not ready for this. Like, this can't be happening yet. There's no way. And Brandy's like, it's all right. It's normal. Like, you know.
Is that about the age? 8 and change?
No, not to my knowledge. But she's with all the gymnastics she does. She's around all these other older girls and that are 13 and 12 and so like that's
they start to need
something, and they're all wearing like sports bras and with their leotards or thing, and I'm just like, holy crap, I am not ready for this. You know, one bit. So then I'm at the gym the other day. And I'm talking to this girl I know who's a trainer over there. I was waiting for John to show up. I was waiting on him to show up. Can you believe that, you guys? We'll talk about the gym in a minute, too.
Hope he's not listening.
Yeah, I hope he is. So anyways, I'm talking to her, and this has like just happened. So I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, oh, you guys ready for Christmas? I'm like, you got older girls that are like 16 and 18 and going to college, and like, I am not ready for that, but let me tell you about this. Like, my daughter asked for a bra. She's like, oh, that's nothing. Like, wait till they want to start wearing thongs. So I'm like, oh my God. Like,
game changes fast.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I am not ready for that. Like, huh?
Start going into the like you're doing laundry and you're like, oh, I don't recognize that is not the wife's.
Right. Oh my God.
You start separating that underwear. You got another one coming along into the way. I mean, could you imagine when Cameron's a senior, you're gonna have all the underwear that you were just not gonna be able to decipher. You gotta wear Mickey Mouse thongs for the rest of your life while you're under my roof.
Oh, like if anybody has advice for me or like a positive story around all this, you can send it to me. I would appreciate it because I'm not ready. I just need a little like reassurance that everything's going to be just fine. Oh,
you'll make it.
It's stressful. I know, but you know what's funny is Travis and I were just looking back at a bunch of like podcast stuff, and this one with Dakota in particular, and he really, was hammering hard on this one. And I know we've talked about it before, but like, you can't control the circumstances and the opportunities, good or bad, that your kids will be presented with in the future. You just have to do a good job as a parent, instilling the right things in them to be able to handle those situations, good or bad, making the right decisions. And of course, like that's where your mind goes when you start thinking about girls with bras and thongs and all these things, and you just like go to the worst immediately. Because I remember being a young boy. You know what I mean? And like, it's scary, but it's
part of the process.
Oh man. So anyways, that's where my Christmas has been recently in this damn. All right, this is where your kids need to stop listening.
Earmuffs.
I'm so over Elf on the Shelf, like on another level of over it. Like who? I'm glad that like somebody capitalized on this stupid little character and they have crushed it. And like that's so cool that the opportunities that you have in America to like come up with this stupid idea and create an entire new Christmas tradition for like this generation. But come on. Moving this stupid thing every night. Do this, don't do that. No one really knows from one house to the other, like who's doing what. Brand, all this. There's no consistency. This kid ruined it for that kid, and they did this, and they touched that. You're not supposed to do this. They're supposed to do that, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. Brandy doesn't. All of a sudden now, Elf brings them a prize every morning. Like it could be like,
yeah, living your life wrong.
Yeah, no. I'm like, Brandy, this doesn't stop this year. Like now you have to continue to do this, or how are you going to explain it next year? Oh. I didn't think about that. She's like, I'm like, what kind of can of worms did you just open? Like, what is going on? So now, the stupid thing, and then it's like, oh, I forgot to move the elf. Go move the elf. I'm like, it's 11:45 at night. I finally just got in bed. And, I don't get in bed till I'm ready to, like, pass out and die. And then she wants me to get back up and go move this elf somewhere creative. I'm like, nah.
See, we've.
I'm like, you can get up early and move that thing.
The elf has not moved in my house.
Yeah,
and my kids are just irrelevant to it.
Of course.
And granted, they're 3.5, but like we just don't even address it. Like I'm not going to use an elf as the punishment. It's more like we've used. Yeah, we brought up a little bit. They're starting to read some stories now, and it's like It's No David book. I'm some of y'all listening might have be familiar with it, but there's a Christmas version, and it's like he has a dream where like Santa leaves a note and it's like, you've been bad and here's your lump of coal. So it's like trying to explain like, oh, if you're the traditional, if you're bad you get a lump of coal. So like when they just start to get a little bit out of line, I kind of make the joke. It's like, oh, you don't want Santa to bring you a lump of coal, and that's kind of worked, right? But we just don't even address the elf, just because I'm like, I ain't trying to get involved with that.
Get rid of.
But we've got the neighbor's
out of control
girl come over. Now she frequents our house often, and so it's like I think it was yesterday. The wife was outside and the girl next door was coming over. She's like, "Oh, wait, can you watch the kids?" Because she realized that our elf hasn't moved in since December 1st.
And she knows what's going on.
And so she knows
she's kind of older now, 11.
Yeah, I think they still
12.
play into that at their house. So we're like, oh crap, like we don't want to be the house the family that ruins it for them.
Right.
So now I'm having to move an elf for some other kid, for the neighbor kid, and it's like, all right, I think our elf is about to just pack up and leave, and they'll be like, well, where's the elf here? It's like, well, we don't need an elf because we just have security cameras and we just watch our children. If they're bad, we get to replay it for them. I don't know. I am the elf. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of that one, but I agree. I think the elf is going to have to die in my house.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog, but I'm about to find a neighborhood dog and bring it back all chewed up and be like, oh, well, the elf's soul left to go back to the North Pole and left his body to get, I don't know, come up with some story.
And people
not
get
traumatize
so
them, but
elaborate with it. And then here's the other thing. Because it gets completely looked over most days, and the kids wake up and the elf didn't move. And then Brandy comes up with these ridiculous explanations. I'm like, you realize you're just digging yourself a hole that you can't climb out of. She just doesn't know when to stop. It's hilarious. Brandy, I hope you're listening. I know you're listening. She listens to every episode. And we talked about it this morning. And I'm like, sometimes you just got to stop talking. Yes. You're just digging yourself deeper and deeper. And she's like, I know. She goes, I'm not sure if Cameron even believes me. Or I don't believe myself. I can't imagine she believes what I'm saying. It's so funny.
Yeah, the elf is gonna die in my house.
I'm so over the elf. Elf is not coming back next year, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll just tell my kids, I think you were bad enough to where let's just hope Santa thinks you're good.
Right.
The elf doesn't want to report on you anymore. And just. And then when the neighborhood kids come over and be like, my kids disobeyed once, I told them the elf wasn't going to come, and we follow through in our house and just leave it at that. You know what I mean? Just.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I've even gone back and forth with like, I love like traditions, but I'm like, I never thought I'd have this like thought in my head of like, I'm talking about a mystical man that's creeping into my house in the middle of the night. I'm gonna leave shit in my kid's house.
I'm gonna leave him some milk and cookies.
I'm gonna feed the intruder. Like, let's just think about this for a minute.
Who's this Kris Kringle guy?
You know what I mean? I'm like, what am I really like following through on this? You know, I'm like, am I really following through on, like, again, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it's like, I'm just like, you know what? Like, because then you start to go like, we're in a business, we're retail, but it's like, it just seems like it's gotten like ever since like social media has come on, it's like it feels like everything's gotten exponentially like has to be like overboard as opposed to being like, can we like like I'm good with presents. I'm good with giving people presents. We don't need to get overboard here. There is like, what's the real meaning of Christmas? Like, let's just have fun with it too. But like it just seems to like you start to add like 19 layers of like elf and this Santa story and that Santa story.
It's gotten too complicated.
Like, what like.
If you could go back to like just old school, the way we grew up with Christmas, and it was just like, it was Santa and it was the stockings and you leave some milk and cookies. And like, that's the extent of like how this is playing out. I'm cool with that. I loved it. And it's really cool. I remember before the elf, when my kids like got excited about Christmas, we didn't have all these layers of it like you're talking about. And it's really fun when they get to the age where they understand what's happening. And Christmas morning, they're pumped. And it's like, you can enjoy that excitement with your kids and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, now it's just so frustrating leading up to that like even Brandy's like, like I can't wait till Cameron doesn't believe anymore. Because it's like, it's stressful. You're like, because everyone feels like they keep up with the Joneses. They're doing the elf. Look what they did. This cute, the elf spread glitter all over the kitchen. How cute is that? If you spread glitter around my kitchen, I will. Listen, this is the note I wrote down. I'm calling the Undertaker, and he's gonna come choke you out. He's gonna DDT slam you.
Man, we get a card from someone quarterly, and they always put a glitter-esque in it, and I just don't even open the card anymore. So if you're listening, you can just stop sending them cards and stop paying for postage. Because like I did it once, I was like, you gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
And like thankfully the next card I opened, because I was like, maybe that was a one-time event, and like it was big. It wasn't like the tiny glitter. I guess they got enough backlash on that of like, oh, let's not do that again. But then it was like big chunks. I'm like, that's fine.
Like straight up, like in the envelope.
Yeah, like you open it,
it's confetti,
like glitter bomb.
Oh hell!
But it wasn't like as like a practical joke to be mean. It was like, we want to get your attention. I'm like, well, you got it.
Be cute.
It's like your shit's now in the. I keep saying that, so sorry if there's kids listening. I'll stop cursing.
No, we told them not have kids listening a few months ago.
But it's like, talk about you get glitter like, oh man, that gets my blood pump, because like
it's constantly in my house with the girls too. Some arts and crafts project or some
we got my kids picked out an ornament. It's like a moose, but it's like glittered, like blue and red, and I'm like, why who thought that was a good idea? Because now like the youngest one touches it and then touches me, and then I come in the office and I'm like shining, covered
in glitter.
Like, what is happening?
Have you seen the
now?
memes going around? Like, I'm sure they've been going around for a while, Travis, the Annie Sees ones. The guy's like completely chromed out. What's the Silver Surfer? Is that the character that's like all silver?
In the like 4 final?
I don't know. But it's like, you know how he's like completely silver?
Yeah.
So Annie Sees is something you use on like nuts and bolts so they don't like rust and seize up.
Yeah,
it makes them like super slick and nice, and like you can put it lubes it up, right? It's like a lube. And it's so funny because like you get one drop of that stuff on you and your entire hand turns silver. Like you're like, it comes with like a little paintbrush in it, you know, and you like usually like brush it on the bolt and then thread it on, and then inevitably it's like a little on your fingertip, and then it's all over your body every single time. It's so funny, but it's like glitter.
Right.
I'm so over it. Anyways, What are you guys doing about? Do you guys do like a Christmas list? Santa ask for things.
I haven't got there yet. No, like this year was the first year with the oldest ones. So we were like, as we've been reading some of the books, it's like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? You know, kind of like, I guess, prompting that sort of thought process a little bit, and and based on what they see in the book, it's that No David book. It's like he's got a bike, and it's like, oh, I want a bike. It's like, okay, so
yeah,
I don't think they really know what to ask for, or quite get the concept, but they understand like presents are now kind of like some presents are now around the tree, so I think they're starting to put one and two together, but we haven't gotten that involved. And even growing up, we got presents. It was Santa came to the house, but my family just never went overboard on it. We were just not an overboard Christmas. We were just one of those, like, we would get some presents, but if we just need something throughout the year, as long as we were good and we did something, it was like here. But it wasn't like, I wasn't getting a random Nintendo set, what I mean, like on a random Thursday.
Save the big thing.
Yeah, so it's like,
Christmas,
my birthday or Christmas or something, we might have gotten like something like that. But otherwise, like, do you need a new soccer ball kind of thing? It's like we didn't just make big deal of it. And you only got what you needed. It wasn't ever in excess throughout the year. So for us, it was just, I never did a Christmas list really, like even with like growing up, I was like, well, maybe is there one or two things like during like family dinner we'd talk about, but I don't think I ever wrote, like the only time I wrote a letter to Santa was like in school.
Yeah,
it was like
forced project.
So, I don't think we'll. I don't know. I mean, I'm like the biggest kind of Grinch there is. I used to like people back.
You want to fight me for that title?
No, in high school, I dated someone whose family like just loved Christmas, and God bless them. But like they were ones that like wanted to play Christmas music like just like November 1st they wanted to, but they like held off until like Thanksgiving, and it was just like one of those situations when like for me, like having kind of, growing up in that situation, I was like, all right, when I have like my family and stuff, it's like Christmas music is on Christmas Day. Like you ain't playing that beforehand, And so the running joke with the wife was almost like, it was like, we can play Christmas music today because it's Christmas. Not like just because it's Thanksgiving and we're decorating. It's like, no, none of that. And like now, of course, like I've broken down because like my kids really love like piano. Like on the YouTube or something, like just
have they been
see
playing
the keys.
The piano at all?
They'll bang around a little bit, and then the wife plays.
Structured.
Nothing structured yet, but so like I feel like it like defaulted to like that Mariah Carey "All I Want for Christmas." But in the YouTube video we watch is like you can see someone playing the keys and they light like almost like Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
imagine that for a piano. So it's not like like that. Imagine that. And so like that started playing, and it was like I remember I think it was like November 30th, and I just started cringing. I was like, all right, I got to start changing my mindset because like I don't want to just I don't want to put my thoughts and just impress upon them so much because again they're young, they got imagination. So I was like, I don't want to put the darkness on them as far as like the Grinch, but that's been a transition as you have kids and parenting. It's like, but we for Christmas we always did like a Christmas. We did like a big brunch at my house. Yeah. So it was always like we'd have our pajamas. We'd open up Christmas presents. We'd do like big like Belgian waffle maker finally came out for the one time that year. And, just do a big like that. And as you got older and like mimosas and all that other stuff as we were like in college.
Yeah.
The wife's family always does a big like extended family like southern sort of like lunch, so that 2 p.m. big to do. So we'll have like this is the first year I think we'll actually stay at our house, kind of let the kids just play with their things. They're old enough, and then we'll migrate over there for the extended family non-nap day and just kind of.
I'm trying hard not to leave my house Christmas Day anymore. Like it's always been chaos in the last 2 years. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. If you want to see me, you know where to find me. The kids want to play with their toys. They don't want to be packing up in the car every hour to move to the next location because you want to see the kids, so we have to come to you. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. You can come see me.
Yep.
I'm going to get up Christmas morning. We're going to open presents. We're going to take some pictures. I'm going to drink coffee. And when I get bored drinking coffee, I'm going to start a fire and like start drinking beer. Like I'm hanging out the rest of the day. Come see me. You know, like that's what I'm doing. Kids want to play. That's what we did as kids. You know, Travis and I, we would open our presents and then all the neighborhood kids, and it all ended up at our house. Jeff and the Bernardinis and like everybody. And we just all played with our toys together out in the street.
Show off the toys and
because you know somebody got new rollerblades, so we're playing hockey, or it's a new bike, and we're jumping on ramps, or a skateboard, or a paintball gun, and like fun.
Take your shirt off and run away.
Oh, 100%. Way worse than that though.
Did you ever do? Speaking of paintball, did you ever do the like? I'm trying to think of the like old, like think of like, you know, the Revolutionary War, like we'll all stand in a line and like shoot at each other. So we all drop. Like, so we did that with the fraternity once. It was like everyone just get into like a line, like back to back. You just stand there, hold your gun out, whack. 1, 2, boom. And of course, someone would have the gun to just like, you know, do like a veer left. You're like, side. I don't know how someone's still standing. I shot it right at you. And otherwise, you're just standing there just.
No, we don't.
Pull the trigger and you just cringe.
We didn't line up like that, but it was like go out there and see if this hurts. You know, and it's like, ow! And like big we used to like take off your shirt, and then you like stand there with your shirt off, like hands covering your crotch, and you're just like, this is gonna suck. Yeah.
I mean, we've done the paintball games where you just get into like an open field, and you're like with like boundaries. Yeah, like, that's actually like a net, and it's like, all right. Last one standing. You're like, there's 30 of us just getting lit. I mean, that's so dumb.
It's awesome. Those are the best.
You're like, the next day, you just look like you. Like,
yeah.
All lit up black and blue. Anyways,
good Christmas memories. Fun stuff. Let's talk about the past year. As we wrap up the year, this will be the last episode of the year. We're going to skip next week probably because we're all kind of mostly out of the office and doing Christmas things, and just take a little break. Start 2020 with a fresh new season of the podcast as we were in the new studio. If you watch this, it looks different. We'll kind of freshen up the look of things a little bit, but let's kind of recap the year. You know what I mean? Like so much has happened in the past year.
Yeah.
That it's like unbelievable, from, you know, hiring more people to doing more deals, or you know, interviewing people on the podcast, or just like events that have happened and things we got going on. So I wrote a few things down because I wanted to try to jog my memory and not leave anything out, or just see if there's anything I can remember that really stood out. But, you know, going back to the beginning of the year in somewhat of a chronological order here, I guess, we did some racing in the beginning of the year. Travis and I, so we as a company sponsored Manspot with his racing Jeep for the King of the Hammers and the Mint 400, which are like off-road desert races with a Jeep. We've got this Jeep that's in the 4,500 class, right, Trev?
45. Yeah, I think
4,500, which means it's got a 37-inch tire. I don't remember all the specs. Anyways, it's badass. It's really cool. It's fun. It's fast. We're racing against some big names in the racing industry, and it's cool because Vaughn is like kind of the like oddball, like not really a racer, but an influencer who's racing, and he has a lot of attention from other places. So he's got some really neat sponsors, and we're on board with that as the main sponsor. And that was a fun experience, being out in the middle of the desert in California we were out there for what, 5 days?
Yeah, it was like a week.
We were out there for like a week.
It's a full week.
Yeah, we rented an RV. I've got videos on this. You guys can go back and watch. Maybe I'll see if Travis can remember to put some links to some of these things I referenced throughout the rest of this podcast in the description, because some of it might interest you to like want to go back and look at. But it's really cool. So you're out in the middle of the desert. You're like completely off the grid. We rented an RV and we lived in this thing for like 5 days, which was a fun experience. Maybe a little bit bigger RV this time because it was a little tight, but it was really cool. It was cold. So cool. Like that experience, holy crap. I'm just now like remembering the experience of like first of all, how difficult it was to find it at 10 o'clock at night. We drive miles on the racetrack, not realizing that we're like on part of the race course, and it's like massive rocks and boulders and like just whoops and like all kinds of stuff. And it's pitch black, and this GPS is like, yep, you're going the right way. We're like, damn, this is legit. Like, and like like, this RV is going to get stuck out here. Like, I mean, it was intense. I'm like, did we get the extra insurance on this thing? So we're like, dang. So we finally get a little bit of service to call or text Vaughn. They had to be in a specific place to be even call us because you're like way out there. And we're like, yo, we're on this like road and like, this doesn't seem right. He's like, oh yeah, that's it. Just keep going. So I almost want Travis to come sit down because this is ridiculous. It's like, so we're going, and then all of a sudden, like, here comes a dirt bike, and it's like, brah, brah, brah. We're like,
Didn't we pass by Unimog?
a Unimog, which is like a front cab, like flat front, big Mercedes Unimog. It's kind of like a military-esque type big utility vehicle with like these monster huge tires on it, and it's like, brrr. I'm like, I don't think we're going the right way.
Those are the only people we saw for like an hour.
Yeah, those are the only two things. And they must have looked at us like, look at these idiots.
Off-roading in an RV.
So we're like, so we finally turn around. But where we turned around, it like split off in different ways. And we're like, shit. Because like, again, we're in this big RV. So it's not like we're just, we'll just make a quick little U-turn. Like we drive around this big empty field, like thinking like, we got to keep going this way. And then we're like halfway around. We're like, we should just turn around. And it's like, which one of these 5 roads did we just come up on? You know, because remember we were like, wait, do we keep going that way? We're like, all right. So now we're driving like based on GPS, like screw what we can see. We're just like, no, we need to go back this. I think we came up this road. So it was outrageous. So we go all the way back up this road, miles and miles and miles at like 2 miles an hour, creeping over things. Oh my God, this is going to pop a tire. Like just ridiculous. Get back on the main road, go down like a mile, and it's like King of Hammers entrance, 5 miles this way. We're like, what the? And then we're like, oh, that's the entrance. And it's like lit up and flags and buggies and like a million people. And then as soon as you start going down that and there's like cars in the line, everybody's kind of going that same way. Like, all right, this is clearly where we need to be. And there was cars, race cars, RVs, campers, trailers in the middle of the desert as far as you can see. It was the most outrageous thing I've ever seen in my life. In every direction. Like if you stood in the middle of this place, like people what do they estimate there? It's like 100 and something thousand people.
Over 100,000 or something. Show up for the week.
And everyone's in an RV because you're in the middle of the desert. So like imagine 100,000 RVs in the desert. Like it just goes and goes and goes. And there's compounds set up, and BF Goodrich has 18 wheelers and like it's insane. It's really crazy. It's like Burning Man for race cars. Like are you familiar with Burning Man?
Yeah.
I'm sure some of the other people. So if you're familiar with Burning Man, it's like that with race cars. It's insane. Or race trucks, I should say, and Jeeps and stuff. But it was crazy, and it was so cold. And then we broke down like 70 miles into this 400-mile race or something.
The race Jeep.
Yeah, the Jeep did. Yeah, the Jeep did. And we didn't get to finish, but it was a really cool experience. And, we learned a lot from that. I'm trying to remember what happened. Was that?
Fuel pump.
It was the fuel pump at King of Hammers.
Yeah, and then the
we got that
400
fixed.
was like getting pushed up and like the whole thing breaking, right?
That's right. The motor mounts got broken off and all that stuff. Yeah, so that led us into the Mint 400, which is the following month. So Travis and I traveled back out to Las Vegas. This race is kind of right on the California, Vegas, or Nevada border. Mint 400 is, which is a really cool event. Like that was bonkers too, but it's better because you're like in town. You're staying in Las Vegas. It's like a 45-minute drive to the location where they're racing. There's like a hotel and amenities and gas stations and Starbucks and like there's things around versus like being stranded. So that was cool. And they have a huge festival all week long on Fremont Street. So it's like it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. So as a spectator, it's a lot more fun than King of Hammers. But that was cool. But we went a couple of laps. We were in the start of the second lap when
Like
Vaughn
halfway
got like ran off the course and ended up into like this big embankment, which pushed up on the bottom of the engine, which broke the motor mounts, which caused things and then we were done. That was unfortunate. But again, great learning experience. We learned a lot. Now so we're going back this year, sponsoring 3 Jeeps, 2 of which finished the races last year. So we've got really good chances of that. These guys are very, very trained. The This is Impulse Off-Road, who built the Jeeps, who are instructing drivers for Ford Raptor driving school, and they're really good. They know what they're doing. So we're excited to have like triple the chances of doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. So if anybody's going to King of the Hammers or Mint 400 this year, we'll be there. There's quite a few of you there last year that we met and took pictures with and that kind of stuff. So that was cool. Racing in the beginning of the year. February, March, April is when we actually started the podcast. And this is what, 30? This is, I think, 30, right?
Episode.
So this is episode 30. So it's kind of cool. We've been here like practically every single week. Continue to show up. We've gotten great feedback from it. It's been fun. It's really interesting how much I reflect even about the things that we talk about. And you're like, man, it just makes you think about certain things, especially when you talk about parenting, or you get, we interview an incredible guest, and you like hear their point of view or their perspective on certain things, or Dakota and Ward or Aaron being blown up, and you're like, damn. It just, it's a lot of like reflection and like perspective, which has been really cool. So the podcast has been great. Again, positive feedback from like every direction on that. So that's been cool. Anything else happen in kind of the early part of the year before I'm trying to it's such a blur now. It
really has been a blur.
Probably the busiest year of my life in general. Just like family life, business, like personal projects and things, and building decks, and like it's just been like the busiest year of my life. It's been, so that's why I wanted to write things down and jog my memory a little bit here. May and June, we get into Mother's Day and Father's Day and stuff. And then that's about the time we started to realize we needed a little more space in the office.
Yeah.
And the rest of the building was being leased to someone, and their lease was supposed to be coming up. And this is where we were like, yo, we need that building when this lease is up. And they're like, oh yeah, July 31st, they'll be out. July 31st comes, they're like, they need another month. We were like, that's all right. We're not really ready because we had some other space that our lease wasn't up for a while. And we kind of were like, that's fine. No big deal. And then that turned into another month. We're like, all right, we kind of need to wrap this up. And so then once they did that, then we were able to start construction over here. And then that took several months, and it was a big distraction to us, and trying to do permits and design and architects and all these different codes and inspections, and what a nightmare. Engineering and AC and all these different decisions to make. And oh my goodness. But we're finally here. That's what this, the new studio is in the other half of the building that we finished construction. And so that was a big project over the year that I think everyone's super happy about now. It's going to be.
Yeah. We got the studio, we got offices, we got space. We hopefully
more capabilities.
More capabilities.
So we're excited about that. It's cool. It's been fun. And now I'm finishing organizing things so we can really get going. July. Well, this will be good. I started working out again in July. July 1st was the day. When did you start working out?
Well, you started working out right before July 4th.
July 1st was the first day in the gym.
You're like, I'm going to work out, and then like 3 days later, I'm going to eat a hamburger, steak, drink beer all day.
Well, I work out so I can eat that crap.
Still haven't had a salad this year, have you?
No.
Oh, man.
No. Brandy almost got hurt this morning when because I was up super early, so we took the kids to school together, and then we went to First Watch for breakfast at like 7 o'clock this morning. And she's like eating her avocado toast, and then takes her big avocado covered fork and like scrapes it across my plate to eat all my pancakes, and just leaves I was like, you just contaminated my entire pancake.
I can't eat it now. I need a new pancake.
Yeah, I was so mad. She's like, I know I sound like a baby, but I'm picky about my food.
You do like beige.
So, started working out in July, and like, I hate working out. You guys have heard the story before, but I'm down. I'm doing good. You know what I mean? I'm still consistent, 3 days a week, sometimes 2, depending on everyone's schedules, but 2 to 3 days a week since July 1st. I'm down, right at 20 pounds, 18 pounds. I feel good. I feel like I look better.
Just need you to.
The next step I've kind of plateaued. Like I lost the first 12 pounds like that. Like 60 days. I was like, boom. Yeah. And then after that, it started to be like, all right, I lost like a pound. I didn't lose any weight. maybe I lost 2 more pounds again. And so it's been very slow, but that's on a nutrition level at this point. And once I get through the holidays and can like wrap my head around that and get mentally prepared for that, I can take that next step. But all in all, I mean, it's been good for me. I did change my nutrition quite a bit already, like much better than it had been. And then the consistent exercise has helped. I'm much stronger than I was, and so it's been good. It's been good. Thanks to John.
That's good. I've been worried about my workout schedule as it relates into moving into 2020 with the new baby in June. Because I was like, I work out in the morning, so if I'm going to be kind of in charge of the 3 boys, and she's pretty much going to be in charge of the newborn. So how they sleeping? Am I getting enough sleep, to where it's like, do I want to be waking up at 5:30 to exercise?
You know what you need? You got too many kids in your life. Well, I was going to say, you need to be, what is the group of people called that have like multiple wives?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Dude, that would be awesome.
I didn't.
We took a vacation this summer.
I did not need another.
Was it the summer or was it spring break? Anyways, we went to Tennessee. There's supposed to be we were supposed to go with another couple, and he ended up having to work or something and couldn't go. So it was like Brandy's friend and her daughter came, and the husband stayed at home. But it was like me, Brandy, and her friend. But her friend like did a bunch of cooking, and Brandy was doing cleaning, and I was just like kind of hanging out. I was like, this is awesome. I need another wife. Maybe I just need a nanny.
Yeah.
But
maybe
so
you'll hope
nice.
that Brandy doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, I told her. I was like, yeah, it's funny because like when you do get that little bit of extra help, boy, is it like it just especially. I mean, you're about to have 4 kids. That's why I bring it up. I mean, I'm just making a joke about like how much work it's gonna be, and it's gonna. Whew.
Yeah, basically 4 kids under 4, pretty close to it. Let's say my kids will turn 4 in May, and this baby will be born in June.
Yeah.
Hooah!
4 at 4. Wow, that's crazy.
So anyways, I don't know how that's going to play out with the workout schedule, if I'm going to have the mental capacity. I need to, but it's going to be a struggle,
I think what's likely to happen is you
struggle.
take a break for a couple of months until you can get past like some things and then get back on it. Because
then again, like
you're gonna end up running yourself
besides
to the
like
ground.
the feedings, right? Which I can't do much about if if she's able to nurse again. So, but it's like this is like those first few months are like when the baby sleeps the most, So it's like, but anyways, sleeps the most, but it's those feedings. Just I'll never forget with the twins. Like there had to be another set of hands just to try to nurse because you nurse them at the same time. At least we did. And it's literally like help with the hookup, as I called it, like help with the hookup. And she was laying against a beanbag, and then I'd grab like a blanket and just lay on the floor next to the beanbag. And, like, especially in the beginning when they're slower to feed, and then thankfully they got faster. But it'd just be like there, and it'd be like, all right, I need someone to burp and change the diaper. And you like wake up, stumble, go do that, hook it back up.
It's funny.
Oh my gosh, it was just pure chaos, but you get through it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I wouldn't be working out if that was gonna happen again
for sure.
So we'll see.
We did the interview with the Man Spot. He came in town. We did the podcast with him, obviously, and we did some other stuff with him as well. But like we did this like documentary style video with the Man Spot, which ended up being pretty neat. There's a lot of story around the Man Spot of like his backstory and how he got to where he is and what he did along the way and what he did before what he's doing now and all this kind of stuff. So it's a really neat video we put together. I think it is super interesting if you're into the Man Spot or curious about the Man Spot because he's such a character. I would recommend going and watching it. It's like a 6 or 8 minute video. Travis will link that in the video. I hope. He'll link it in the description of this somewhere. But one of the coolest things I think of the year is just all the people we got to meet with. Yeah. Like all the new people from, Gary V to Dakota Mayer to Aaron Hale to the Undertaker. The Undertaker was a cool thing, and like Tig and those guys from Benghazi. Travis, you went out there with me, so we went out. Nine Line Apparel does their yearly 5K, 10K fundraising event, and then leading up to that, they have like a dinner the night before, and then that day they usually have some sort of other like vendor and like friends and family and sponsor event. And it's this year we went out shooting. We went to the shooting range with these guys, and they brought in a helicopter and all this kind of cool stuff. But they bring in a lot of their like, I won't say influencers, but some of the celebrity people that they work with and that endorse Nine Line and stuff. So, you know, you got the Undertaker there and Tig and some other wrestlers. I'm trying to remember some baseball players, just like big name people, you know, that we get to spend some time with and hang out with and get to know a little bit. So that was a really cool thing because, you know, like never in a million years did I think starting this company around diaper bags would get me out shooting guns with the Undertaker. You know, somebody that's like you watch on TV as a kid in the WWF wrestling Hulk Hogan, and now I'm hanging out shooting guns with the Undertaker. Like, it's just so crazy what you can accomplish and what can happen by just like putting your head down, getting things done, being a good person, connecting with the right people. Like, and it's not even like putting your head down and grinding. It's just like being a good person, because that just spreads. And it's like, oh, this guy's cool. Let's invite him out. You know, it's like, you don't have to.
Well, you don't have all these
anything.
ulterior motives either, you know?
Right.
I'm not trying to get something from you.
Right. Exactly. So, you know, that kind of stuff. And then again, same with like Dakota, you know, it was a real honor to be able to spend a couple days with him and have him here and on the podcast and hear his story from him and get perspective of life from him, you know, as I say war hero. He hates that because he doesn't view himself as a hero. He did what he was supposed to do, and he said he says if he was a real hero, none of that would have ever happened. You know, he looks at it as the biggest failure of his life. So I say war hero lightly because I know that that's not how he looks at it, but to give you guys kind of like, I don't, lack of a better word, I guess, to say, but and same with Aaron, you know, who gets blown up by a IED, loses his vision and hearing and all these things, but like it's not holding him back from doing anything. Nope. This dude's like, it's very incredible. And then just the humor of like the wife spot. I mean, what? Like we it's not like the first time we got to hang out with wife spot by any means, but you know, to have her on the podcast and get some of that stuff out of her on camera was, and Chris, so funny. That's been our most popular podcast yet. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. That's a good one. But yeah, just being able to meet and hang out with some extraordinary people has been pretty cool.
Yes, it has.
It's been pretty cool.
So what's on the docket for 2020?
2020. What's coming 2020? That's the same conversation we were having yesterday.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, there's some new products coming.
Yep.
We're excited about that. You know, there's a that's likely to be kind of middle of the year ish, towards the middle, not
Second
first thing.
quarter.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff will be available. Should be available for Mother's Day, Father's Day. It's crazy the planning you got to do in advance.
Ahead of time. Yeah.
When it
That's
comes
been
to all
a
that.
long time coming. So we're excited about some new products, and then trying to just build the community more and some more like just brand building for us, and trying to get more involved with some of you guys and maybe attend some other events or get some other guests on or whatever. But I don't know, more of the same, some new products. Hopefully we get some other good ideas. I don't know. That's it. We're going to take over the world is basically what's happening.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for an incredible year and support from you guys. We really appreciate it. Yeah. Give this video a thumbs up or wherever you're listening to it, a rating, a comment, all of the things. We would appreciate it. We'll see you next year. Peace.